Okay, hello readers, and welcome to the second episode of Park City Dispatch with Terence and Joey. Terence and Joey here. It is almost 1 o'clock. We both have to get up early, but we thought we'd record this quick video to tell you today was the first pretty jam-packed day of Sundance. So we're going to do a little reviews of some movies. I'll tell you a quick story about how my life almost ended in line for Kill Your Darlings. But yeah, it was. So I guess I'll start since I saw the movie earlier this morning. First film that I saw today was A River Changes Course. It's a documentary about families in northern Cambodia who are affected by not just the river changing course, even though it's in the title. It's a pretty deceptive title actually. But with affected by the fact that the land is being deforested and how the children have to go to work at an early age, and it's really engrossing the longer that you think about it after the fact. It was an interesting sit. I was kind of like, when is the river going to change course? Because it mentions in the press kit that it changes course twice, and you only see it happen one time in the film. But I think it was really interesting just to see, how a different side of the world is living and all of that. Oh, that goodness. So I definitely recommend that. What was the next one?
I think I went to go see Mud, which
Yes.
actually premiered at Cannes last year, but this is its sort of 2013 rollout, and it was very good. I'm not a big fan of Take Shelter, so this is far and away better for me than that one, but I think people who like it really, really like it. No one seems to hate it. Some people dismiss it as a little too bit like a novel, a little too cliched, but I think it's just very old-fashioned. Ty Sheridan from The Tree of Life is excellent. I would argue better. I also prefer this film to that film, but that's another story. McConaughey is the supporting. He is not leading this movie. He is probably on screen for maybe 40 minutes of the 2 hours and almost 20 minutes. Ty Sheridan's his movie. Jacob Sloth something is the other main guy. It's his first role, and he's quite good also. Reese Witherspoon, almost an extended cameo, but she's good when she's there. Nothing you're gonna go crazy over. Sam Shepard, Sarah Paulson. The entire cast is pretty good. It's got some odd tonal shifts here and there. It's kind of a coming-of-age story until bounty hunters get involved, but it's very, very lush, the scenery. It's kind of like an early David Gordon Green film, if that makes sense, mixed with Stand By Me. I could see McConaughey maybe going supporting actor, being campaigned. It's Lionsgate and Roadside Attraction, so it's not going to probably get a huge initial release, but I enjoyed it quite a bit, and it is probably the best thing I've seen at the festival so far. But that's out of like 3 or 4 films.
Yeah, that's because you haven't seen my second film that I saw today, which was Kill Your Darlings.
I see that in the afternoon.
Yes, it is. Kill Your Darlings is a movie by John Krokidas. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. It stars Daniel Radcliffe, Dane, DeHaan, Michael C. Hall, Jack Houston, Keira Sedgwick, Ben Foster and tells a story about Lucian Carr, Allen Ginsberg, and the formation of the Beats, centered around Lucian and Allen's relationship, and as well as Lucian's relationship with David Kammerer, whom he murdered in a passionate rage.
Spoiler.
Yeah, but before I really dig, I'll give the review and then I'll dig into the story.
Because there's a story.
Yeah, because there's totally a story about fire extinguishers. This movie was really good. Like you can tell that it took them a long time to sort of format the script and get everything together, but the time that it took really pays off. The script is really sharp in its social commentary, as well as its characterizations. I mean, in my review, which you will see up at the site in the morning, I talk a lot about how the actors do a really good job in the roles, but the characters that they've written are really well researched, and they don't make anyone too antagonistic or too protagonist. Daniel Radcliffe as Allen Ginsberg is sort of the audience vehicle, so he's sort of the only one who's not really shifting tonally in terms of their performance, but he gets some pretty standout scenes near late in the film, especially one particular scene that will set tumblers ablaze when it arrives. The standout is far and away Dane DeHaan as Lucian Carr. He's just fantastic and magnetic to watch on screen. Michael C. Hall was really good, as well as David Cameron, the guy who is hopelessly in love with Lucian and who is doing everything in his power. Lucian's doing everything in his power to sort of try and get away, but he can't get away. But then he wants to get away, but then he can't. Yeah, it's a really well done film, and I was definitely glad that I got to see it. But we had to deal with a very interesting catastrophe that happened.
Go on.
Yes, for those people who don't know, in order to get into these big screenings, you normally have to wait in long lines, and so I decided to get to this screening at about 2 o'clock. The screening was at 3:30. Got to talk to Steve from Collider and Peter Soretta from Slash Film, and we're standing in line, and the line is starting to fill out the closer that we get. We've been standing in line for like an hour, and all of a sudden we hear this like explosion and just see white, what looks like smoke coming up out of the ground, and everybody like stampedes out of the way. They knock down all the girders and everything. And it turned out that it was a fire extinguisher that just exploded. And so, if you can imagine, the Eccles Theater seats about 1,200 people, and there were about 800 in line. So 800 people are now dispersed with no rhyme or reason to how to get back in line.
And queue up again.
Yes, and queue up again. But luckily, all the people I was standing next to, we pushed our way to the front because we'd been waiting in line for a long ass time. And no, I was there at 2 o'clock for a 3:30 screening. I deserved to be at the front of the line. So yeah, it was scary. It was really, yeah, the crowd control whole aspect and all of that goodness with the fire extinguisher. It was crazy times.
I was online for Mud at the same time. No fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Saw Mike Ryan from HuffPost that I know decently well. Saw Katie Rich, Jordan Hoffman, things like that. We knew what had happened, and it was just like, oh, look at that. Yeah, but nothing is exciting. I don't.
Catastrophe. Yeah. Like it could have been much worse.
Yeah, let's.
But like, yeah, that was a strange occurrence. And then after that,
I stopped at a party, but just there was food. So
yeah,
food
so late tonight at about 8, we saw After Tiller.
9, even worse.
Was it 9? My
yeah.
God.
Yeah, it was blending.
Oh, so they really blended together. We saw After Tiller, which is a documentary about the 4 doctors in the United States who perform third trimester abortions after being trained by George Tiller, who was shot and killed.
2009, I believe.
2009, yeah. And
I believe they're also the only people in the world who do it legally.
Yes, and it was a very. I don't think it's not going to change anybody's mind about how they feel about abortion, but I definitely think that they provided some interesting viewpoints.
Yeah.
Could have ended 10-15 minutes earlier.
Still not too long compared to some other things.
Yeah, so somebody I overheard saying that it would have been a great short, which I believe because there's a lot of fluff in there.
There's a lot of really good moments.
Yeah, when they could have put other things in, but overall I thought it was pretty decent.
If you agree with, women's choice, you're gonna like this movie. If you're a right to life person, you're not. And it's not really going to even appeal to you because it's one-sided. It's there's not even an attempt to give you a competent spokesperson. You get the fun guys, as it were. It's a little bit of a downer, but it's going to get a reaction of a lot of people. It doesn't require you to be a big fan of late-term abortions. In fact, the people performing them are not necessarily the biggest fans of them, but they realize it's a legal service and that if all 4 of them were to retire, it would not exist anymore. So they sort of have an interesting kind of social justice standpoint to the film.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. In fact, I just wish there's a lot of scientific information brought up in this movie with regards to testing, but I don't think they went far enough explaining to the audience like what that means. So like they mention all of these fancy schmancy names for horrible things. But it doesn't mention, like, when these women get these tests and, how I would have liked the documentary to be, like, maybe go through, like, here's the steps in the pregnancy and sort of. But other than that, I mean, I thought it was pretty fine.
Yeah, it did sort of feel like what could have been a half hour of a longer documentary about abortion, as this being, you know, the late term segment. And yeah, they didn't do the, you know, what a lot of the documentaries do, which is follow one person from beginning to end. They kind of show a lot of people in similar situations. Mm-hmm. It's a stylistic choice. It's preaching to the choir. I liked it. It's not a movie I think anyone loves. You know, if you hate it, you have reasons to. It's a solid Sundance documentary.
Yes, I thought it was pretty good. But now we both have super early screenings.
Yes.
I'm seeing No at 8:30 in the morning. And you're seeing Don John's Addiction at 9.
I am lucky enough to have a New York screening set up for No, so I am going to see Jessica Gordon-Levitt's directorial debut. Yeah. I'm going to see Kill Your Darlings later on. Mm-hmm. I am going to either see Blue Caprice or Touchy Feely. It's the fun part of Sundance. Sometimes you don't know what you have a ticket for. And then I'm seeing Sightseers, so that's my day tomorrow.
Yeah, that should be fun, I heard. I'm currently not looking at my schedule, so I have no idea what I'm seeing.
I will memorize the next day, that's it.
Yeah. Interview with the No director, Pablo Larraín. So that will be very fun. But
wait, I think I saw at the party today. I saw the director of The Gatekeepers today, who surprisingly happy guy for that documentary.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh boy. But yeah, so we're getting around a lot better. Anyone who's never been to Sundance, it is an interesting community to get around. Yeah. But it's getting progressively easier to navigate, and as the festival gets more crowded, it's harder to travel, but at the same time, other people are going your way. So there's a community aspect.
Yes, definitely. But we're very tired, so we're going to sign off with that. Day 2 video, Park City Dispatch with Terence and Joey.
7 more to go.
With that, we will see you guys later.